Some good news for a change. Regional Council survey results. I'll hand that over to Drew. Your microphone there. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors. Now just bring that up. Excuse my quivery voice and husky tones. I'm just trying to get over a bit of a bug at the moment. So the context for this piece of work is that the last, typically the regional councils conducted a survey across the region every 3 years. So we did one in 2005, another in 2008, and then there's a bit of a gap here. So the survey was conducted in 2013. So that is a bit of a gap between serve-ups. So I guess we've used this particular survey as a chance to review our approach and also to establish a new benchmark. So there's some information in here which I'm not able to provide any sort of a comparison for you, but as we do further surveys, that will enable us to perhaps establish some numbers and some criteria against which we can report and will become a little bit more useful to us as we move forward. It's a resident survey. As with the paper, this year we also took another look at the data modelling approach and said let's conduct the survey of 700 residents and do that evenly across the region, and we lined it up against the database, and it's an accurate representation of the spread of population across the region. So it's representative. There are 8 sections, and today really just an overview of the survey results. Not all of the results, but the report is available. I can send it directly to you, but it's also up on our website and available publicly, along with the 2005 and the 2008 results as well. So it is about effectively the perception that the region has of their interaction with the regional council, whether that be they interact a lot with us or they interact very little, but a perception of the regional council overall. So how aware are they of the regional council and what's their satisfaction with the regional council? So again, we cover attitudes to the environment, which has been a historical pitch for this piece of work, and we will use this information where we can to help us with planning and reporting. So I hope that you can, that doesn't look too bad. So I've just used questions as a way of establishing the information here. So this was unprompted, and the question was, when you think about the environment in Hawke's Bay, what is the organisation that you think of? And this is really on a par with previous results. It does, to me, indicate there's still a little bit of fuzziness around in terms of council roles. Within various councils, there's still a little bit of a misunderstanding as to, is it the regional council, is it a council, is it a district council? But certainly it's on a par with what we've seen previously, and it's consistent with the level of engagement that the community has with the regional council.
Sorry, Drew, I can't read the bottom line to see the colours. Are they back to front? In other words, is blue the current line?
Yeah, that's a good point. So
normally you'd have it going from left to right, wouldn't you? 2013
is blue, and that is the most recent result. Then 2008 is orange, and 2005 is grey. The first tab is Hawke's Bay Regional Council, so 51.3%. Then a district or city council. Some people reference the Department of Conservation as an environmental organisation. Quite a few said I don't know, and then there were a number of other responses as well. So, but by and large, I think we sit reasonably well within the public spectrum. Okay, of course, when it comes to paying money to an organisation, then we actually fare quite a lot better. So are you aware you pay rates to the regional council? No issue there. Okay, they know who they're writing the cheque to, so that sits well, and it tracks up well against previous survey results as well. So HBRC and our role, and I apologise it's small, but it's quite hard to make it larger, obviously, in this context, but I'll point out what I can. So the main role of the regional council, the top two, water management and environmental management, so that's logical, that recollection would be there. And then just below that, government or governance or an administrative role, and a focus on services, infrastructure and transport, which sat at around 10%. And below that, there's a whole plethora of different responses that people have given. And again, this is unprompted. So we didn't provide them with any kind of criteria against which to say what the role of the regional council was. This is simply verbatim what came out to us.
Just ask, I can't see all the detail,
No.
but hazard management didn't feature?
Hazard management...
would have thought with all the... Perhaps this was done before the last bits of shake-up that we've had, but I would have thought hazard management might have been a little bit higher in people's minds.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, actually, because the survey is very much representative of what's happening in the current environment. So this was conducted in April, late April, over a 6-week period. And so that would have been before, I think, those most recent shake-ups. So really it's also a reflection of what's currently happening in Hawke's Bay. Post-Christchurch, yes. And I guess, again, we could talk about that fuzziness around, is there real certainty and understanding of the regional council having a very clear role in hazard management, or is it across all councils? So again, they may not attribute that to Hawke's Bay Regional Council in the context of an environmental survey, but if you brought it up in another context, it might be a little bit, it might hit a higher note.
Is that is those answers, are they singular answers? In other words, there was just one main activity indicated?
Yes, in this one.
Only
Yes.
asked for one?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yep. So the main role, yep, just for one. Okay. But then, so regional council in our role, what is the one environmental issue that concerns you most? So water featured extremely highly. Other, we had a lot of other, but amongst those again, fracking and digging again, being topical, was high in terms of 38 overall responses. Land use, runoff, erosion, 24 responses. And then that was quite interesting across water issues, rated higher among Central Hawke's Bay residents. So that's 36% down to 4.5% for Wairoa residents. So again, what's happening in my patch, what's relevant to me in my backyard. So water featured highly, water pollution and waterways also highly. So anything with that sort of water issue theme was of great interest to our community. So again, that was unprompted, and again, it's relative to media issues. So what's current? Now this is busy, but I'll explain it, and I've got a little bit more on this. What's important here? We looked at 20. We looked at 20 theme areas, which are key focus areas of work for the Regional Council. So there are 20 key services that the Regional Council provides. And what's really, I think, important and also really good news is that when you look at the quadrant, so we start with importance on the left-hand side and satisfaction against the base. Everything that we asked of the community, of residents, rated in the upper quartile. So it was important work, but it was also a work which they are very satisfied with the Regional Council's role. So that was, to me, that's a very positive piece of information and really helpful. And the way of breaking that down further is, and again, I know you can't see that, but what I'll point out is this is water theme, air theme, this is land, and this is other. Okay, so when you look at those groups of services by theme, you can generally see that they do sit, again, and we're focusing on the upper quartile, but again, we're breaking that down into 4 areas. So I hope that's clear. So within the upper quartile in the water theme area, you can see that there's quite a level of commonality amongst the ratings that sit against water. And key things there are water storage, for example, is the blue closest to the line, and the lowest rating element there is slime and algae, which is the grey, which is close to the rating of 4. So I think slime and algae still very much sits within the frame of being something which is viewed as important, and perhaps the satisfaction level is a little bit lower on that, which is, I think, consistent with the public's view of slime and algae in our waterways. So that's again something that we are working on.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question, please? Just on that issue, and I've got a copy of the survey, and those issues like water storage and slime and algae, people give them 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So what were they? I can't quite read that. What were those givens in the water-related matters? How far apart were they?
So it was using a Likert scale, which is a 1 to 5 scale. So 1 was not at all satisfied and 5 was extremely satisfied, or 1 was not at all important and 5 was extremely important.
So can you tell us?
Yeah, sure. So the rating there, this is 3, 4 and 5 on every graph. So again, everything was rated in the upper quartile, but when you break it down, so I'll just go back to here. So everything's in the upper quartile there, and then when you zoom in on that, you can look at these by theme. Okay.
So what numbers do you have with those different themes? Can you tell me, like,
specifically?
To get sort of 4 out of 5, or?
I haven't looked at it at that level of detail, but we could certainly provide it to you if you wanted the exact numbers. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is just
this kind of presentation would be quite useful to have in front of us so we can read it, actually.
Okay. So I'm really just trying to give you a sense of where the overall scale is for each theme. So water there, air. If I just look at the land on the left-hand side there, the highest rating was given to bush and wetlands in terms of satisfaction and importance, and the lowest rating was given to fencing of waterways. And then just looking at the highest rating, which was the highest rating overall, was given to quality outdoor places. So again, the Regional Council's work on open spaces is extremely well regarded by residents right across the region.
Sorry, if we go back to that, can't quite read it. Your number 1 is the highest satisfaction, highest importance, is the quality outdoor.
Yep.
All right, there's another one on you. No, come back to the slide with a bit more detail on it.
This one?
Yeah.
Sure.
There's another one just sitting on the line there, which I can't see what it is, on the third.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about land.
What's that?
So this is bush.
That's bush and wetland.
This is bush and wetlands.
And then if I read it properly, the third one is water storage.
Water storage.
Is that the blue up there?
Water storage is
Oh,
here.
there. Okay, what's the dark blue?
That's water storage?
Next.
Oh, sorry. Here.
Yeah.
That is flood drainage, flood control and drainage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So the question was, how important are these regional council services to you?
Sorry, can I just come back to that last one? So was water storage the second to bottom one in that little graph there, and flood control is the highest?
Flood control and drainage is the high, and again we're talking about a very small band of difference overall. But when you really zoom in on that detail, yes, water storage is still sort of less important, but then slightly less satisfied, I guess. But again, relatively speaking, this is a positive result.
That's why I was asking what the numbers were, to get an idea of how close they were.
So water storage in terms of importance 4, and flood control and drainage at 4.5, I think. Yeah, 4.5.
So what's the two in between those three?
Yeah, you've got water regulation and water quantity.
And the last one?
Slime and algae. Okay.
And
Oh.
if I may, again, just there are a number that rate slightly more on the less important. What do people see as less important? There's a wee cluster up there in the second quadrant. What's that?
So what?
Yeah.
What I'll just point out is that this is the same information as what's on this slide.
Oh yeah,
it's just by theme. Yeah,
I know that. I'm just trying to find where people see things as
sure.
less important.
Sure.
So less stress is put on air aspects. And what's down in the bottom quadrant?
Bottom left or right?
The number 4. What's the theme?
Under other, we've got quality outdoor places as orange.
Yeah. No. What do they see as being the lesser important?
Oh, the lesser public transport and tourism promotion.
Yeah.
Funny,
Yeah.
Very true.
Still upper quartile, though.
Yeah, that's exactly my
That's
point.
exactly it.
You go back to the previous slide. This
Yes.
is just a subset of something that's right up in that top
Yeah,
end
yeah.
of high.
Yep.
If I saw that, I wouldn't believe it. If we hadn't gone through this process, I'd say that is a complete extraordinary outcome. Mm-hmm. And then you break it down. You're only breaking down something that's already high, which is at an extraordinary level. We'll get back to the theme behind the actual how the survey worked later, I guess.
Yes.
Amazing result.
Thank you, Councillor. So, satisfaction with the regional council's services. So the question was, how important are these services to you? And again, it's the same services effectively that have been listed on the prior couple of slides. But the key thing here is there's a huge amount of positive energy that's attributed to the work. So the top line is 84.7% of blue. So extremely satisfied with quality outdoor places such as Peka Peka wetland and cycle trails. That's outstanding. Okay. Down into native bush reserves and wetlands, flood control, flood protection and drainage. And you've got themes coming through, reducing smoke from home fireplaces. So again, satisfaction with the Heat Smart program that the Regional Council operates. Rules for water use at 77.9%. Plant and animal pests. I won't go through them all.
I think you should go through them.
Oh, you want to? Okay, sure. So controlling plant and animal pests there at 77.7%. Supporting tourism promotion for Hawke's Bay was 75%. Protecting soil from erosion was next. Providing public transport to Hastings and Napier at 73.7% satisfaction. Monitoring river and groundwater levels at 73%. Reducing smoke from outdoor fires at 73.3% satisfaction. Encouraging the best use of land for growing and housing, 72%. Having rules for water and boating safety at 71.9%. Reducing slime and algae, 71%. Then fencing stock from waterways. Organising community and school environmental education. Controlling odours or smells. Having rules to reduce spray drift at 68%. Developing water storage at 68%. And the last one was minimising dust from farming or business activities. So that's quite a full spectrum of the work that the Regional Council does. What we undertook to do in presenting the survey was also to present it back to the community and using words that were quite easy to understand. Okay, so we could have used some of the jargon that we would typically reference some of this work, but we actually simplified it back so that I think it really does talk about the way that the community interact and understand what we do at that level. So I think, but overall, the results do speak for themselves.